Shalom Aleichem, everybody. Hope all is well. We learn in Kabbalah and Chassidus about the intense miracles needed, the intense miracles that God performs in order to create the world. We learn that Hashem has different names, many different names that Hashem has. Hashem has 72 different names. What's going on here? We learn all the time that Hashem is one. So why does Hashem have so many different names? And what does it mean that Hashem is one? First of all, we have to recognize that, yes, Hashem is one. There's nothing else besides Hashem. Hashem is the only true existence. And the fact that he has different names is, well, because different names represent the different ways in which he expresses himself. I always give this example, and I think it's an accurate example. I think you also agree with me that, what does it mean Hashem has different names? I always like to give this example, that my father, to me, I call him, let's say, Daddy. And yet, let's say my father works at a store. So you say Mr. Z. Or he's a teacher. In the classroom, they call him Mr. Z, so to speak. And then when he comes home, I call him Daddy. And then my mother calls him by another name, so to speak. By his first name. Is he a different person? No, he's the same person. So why does he have different names? Because the names that people are calling him have to do with his relationship with them. They're calling him by a name that is associated with their relationship with him. So too, and how much more so with Hashem. Hashem is one. There's nothing else besides Hashem. But he has different names to represent, to express the different ways in which he reveals himself and expresses himself to the world. Two very famous names of Hashem. One is the name Yud Kevke. We're not allowed to say this name is very holy, so we can't even say the letters in their exact way of pronouncing them. Even the letters we can't even say in a direct form. We have to say Yud Kevke. This is in the picture of the video. You'll see that's the name on top. This represents Hashem as he creates the world, but yet is completely beyond and removed from the world. Hashem is beyond in his infinite state. Then there's the name Elokim. What does it mean, Elokim? Elokim, it's really pronounced with, instead of a k, it's with a hey, a ha. But again, we're not allowed to say Hashem's name unless we're saying a specific verse or prayer in which that name is a part of the prayer. Then if we're saying the full verse or the full prayer at the appropriate time, we're allowed to say the name. But if we're just learning Torah and we're teaching each other without a specific verse, we're not authorized to use Hashem's direct name. We have to say Elokim. So we said Yud Kevke is Hashem's name to represent Hashem as he's beyond the world, as he is removed from the world, as he creates the world in a state of removal from the world. And then the name Elokim is Hashem within the world, within nature. And as we know, Elokim has the gematria, has the numerical value of the word hateva, nature. Why? Because it's Hashem's name to connote, to connect with the way Hashem encloses himself within the world. So to us Nivraim, to us created beings, these are complete opposites. In one name, Hashem is completely beyond the world. He's completely infinite. He's open and revealed in an infinite and overwhelming way of revelation. Elokim is Hashem as he's completely hidden and enclosed and mislabesh. He's within the world. He's in a state of hiding within the world. It's complete opposites. One is open, infinite, revealed, and one is limitation and hiddenness. But yet we know that we see a beautiful verse. Ve'edai tahayim shvat elavavecha ki Hashem hu Elokim. You should know and put onto your heart. You should take this thought, which we learn in Kabbalah and Chassidus, to take our thoughts and let it arouse our hearts, that Hashem is Elokim. That Hashem, the one who is completely removed and hidden and removed and infinite, is the one that is completely one with the name of Hashem as he's hidden within the world. And the Alter Rebbe explains this this is a very deep video. It's very Kabbalistic, very Chassidic, but I think if it's hard for you to understand, you should watch it again. Alter Rebbe takes it a step further in his explanations to explain that what does Hashem hu Elokim means. Hashem, from Hashem's perspective, there's no hiddenness. We, as we're within this world, we experience that we're experiencing right now a state of limitation, and Hashem is in his infinite state, and there's a hiddenness, there's a separation. That's only from our limited perspectives. But from Hashem's perspective, there's no difference. Hashem is the same now as he was before the world was created. It says, Atahu ad shalom nivra olam. Hashem, you are like you were before the world was created. Now the world is created and we experience this and that and a world and a life and an experience and our own limitations and our own situations. And then there was this before we existed, now we do exist. It's a whole new world. But from Hashem's perspective, nothing's changed. Hashem is beyond time. Hashem is completely removed from time. Time is actually... Hashem isn't limited to time, isn't bound by time, but time is bound by Hashem. Hashem creates time. Time is a creation just like everything else. So we experience now and yesterday, and this happened yesterday, and this will happen tomorrow, and this is happening now. It's different verses, different terms, different verbs, different conjugations, the past tense, present tense, future tense. But from Hashem's perspective, yesterday and 1,000 years ago and in 200 years from now are all one, because Hashem is the source of time rather than the other way around, which our limited intellect can't grasp, but we can think about it and we can tap into it. We can become obsessed and inspired by this idea, because while we can't fully grasp what it's like to be beyond time, we can tap into it and we can get affected by this beautiful reality that Hashem is beyond time. And to understand this idea a bit further, there's the 10 Sefirot. What are all the 10 Sefirot? The 10 Sefirot are not something we can explain in words, but we can try. And we can do our best. And we can't fully explain perfectly in words, but we can do our best to give over the idea of what the Sefirot are. Sefirot are 10 different ways, 10 different dimensions, 10 different attributes in which Hashem reveals himself. And through these 10 Sefirot, we can't translate them, so to speak. Through the 10 Sefirot, the best is my teacher always said, how do you translate Sephira? Say Sephira. Very good. You can't translate it, but you can recognize that these are 10 different attributes, 10 different dimensions through which God creates the world. And through these 10 dimensions, reality as we know it come into being. And there's 4 general worlds, each comprised of these 10 different dimensions within the worlds. And if that wasn't complicated and mind-blowing enough for you, each 10 of these Sefirot, 10 of these attributes, have the 10 attributes within them. So within each attribute, there's the other attribute within it. All right, I know you guys want to keep your souls in your body today, so I'll try to explain a little bit what this means. I'll give you an example. First, you have the Sefirot, the intellectual Sefirot. Chochma, Bina, Das. And sometimes Das is removed and Keser. Again, we want to keep our souls in our body today, but we'll say this. There's the intellectual attributes, which are divided into 2 or 3, depending on which situation. And then, we're not going to go into that today, so to speak. Or whatever, I'll give a little introduction. You have Chochma, which is the first flash of intellect. And then you have Bina, the grasping, all the details of the intellect. For example, when you have an idea in this world, your mind flashes with a beautiful idea. And that's the beginning stage. And then it goes into Bina, where you develop all the details, the pratim, the aspects. That's beautiful, but now to really understand this idea of what we're saying, that Hashem is Elokim, God is one, and all the names of God are truly one, we have to go into the midot. This is what the Alter Rebbe really explains well, is that there's chesed and gevura, 2 of the emotional attributes. There's kindness and severity, which are 2 opposites, so to speak, seemingly. Chesed, I give, is to give. To give. Strictness, gevura, is to take away, to hold back, to punish, to be strict with someone, to constrict, to contract. But we know that Hashem is one, and Hashem is Elokim, Yud Kevke is Elokim. Beautiful, but what does this mean in the Sefirot? The Alter Rebbe explains it through the lens of the Sefirot. That within the kindness, you have strictness, and within the strictness, you have kindness. So yes, they're seemingly opposites, but because Hashem is one, it says Ihu vegarmiyeu chad. Hashem and his attributes are one. So even though kindness and strictness seem like opposites, really they're all one. And there's kindness within strictness, strictness within kindness. Great, but what does this mean? I'll give you an example. You have a father. Father wants to be kind to his son. Kindness. But he realizes his son his son keeps asking for candy. Kindness, he wants to give, kindness to give. Here, my son, have more candy, have more chocolate. And at a certain point, he realizes it's too much chocolate isn't good for him, honestly. So, hopefully he learned it before it was any negative aspects. But he realizes, wait, you know what? I can't be giving my son all this chocolate. I love him. I don't want him to be sick. And his son says, Father, Tati, can I have some more chocolate? The father knows it's not right. So the father, he says, son, I'm sorry. Can't have any more today. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe the day after, but not today. Is that kindness or strictness? It's strictness. What do you mean it's strictness? He's not giving, he's holding back. Son, no, you can't have chocolate today. But really within the strictness is actually kindness. Why? Because he loves his son. He doesn't want him to get harmed by all the sugar. So he says, son, no, not today. So it's kindness and strictness at the same time. So we see that because Hashem is one, he fuses two opposites. Kindness and strictness are really one. And this is the same thing as why we said Yud Kevke and Elokim are one. Why? Because Hashem is beyond infinite and he's above the world, but yet in order to create the world, how does Hashem create the world? He has to hide himself. He has to take his light and hide it. And then create the world in a state where they don't experience the full revelation of God. Why? Because if they were to experience the full revelation of God, they would be blown out of existence. So Hashem has to hide himself, create the world, and slowly but surely, or fastly but surely, Hashem, through our service of God, through the Torah and mitzvahs which are one with God, we turn this physical world, this limited world, into a vessel, a keli for the infinite. And then we will fuse two opposites, and we will experience the infinite of Yud Kevke and the limitations of the name caused by the name Elokim, which are truly one. It's all Hashem. And we'll experience that down here in this world to experience the truest, ultimate form of godly revelation in the days of Mashiach may be today. So this video, I know might be more complicated than what we're used to, but this is what we were learning now in Shar Yichud Ve'amuna. In our daily study in Chabad, the Rebbe gave us a directive to learn every day daily Tanya, the holy book of the first Rebbe of Chabad, the source of Chabad Chassidus. And every single day we learn a chapter, not exactly a chapter because the chapters are divided differently, more longer, but a section prescribed for today of the daily Tanya, of Tanya. And in this, what I explained to you today is the past few days what we've been discussing in the book Shar Yichud Ve'amuna, a section of Tanya. And it is something that is mesmerizing. It's something that takes you away. Takes you like away and brings you back. What does this mean? It takes you into levels beyond the world, and then it gives you the strength to bring these divine levels back into the world. So I know these were difficult ideas, but they're all within our reach to grasp. And if this was hard for you, watch it again. And if it's hard for you, still watch it again. You'll get it. Hashem is with us. We have a part of God within us. But the main point of this idea, my friends, is that Hashem and Elokim are one. God is beyond division. God is one, and we are all a part of Him. So may Hashem bless you all. May you experience this today. Please support the Torah channel. We need your help. Thank you so much. Be well.